My video for September the 8th, 2017 is entitled Act of God or Weather Manipulation. I breathed a sigh of relief with the release from mandatory evacuation of the apartment in which I live. That means that I can stay put even though my son would have made room for me in his home for a few days. He has my generator, so I know he will at least have power. Now to the real issue here, weather manipulation. For decades, the corporate cabal criminals have been tinkering with the weather. The reports are easily available online, but of course, there is always a lot of disinformation to debunk such revelations. There is no doubt among those of us who have been paying attention that the cabal is demonic. While many of us are calling What many of us are calling for is for God to act and bring these charlatans divine justice for their malicious acts of playing God. Of course, many of their technologies are designed to stop our awakening. I hope they are the ones stopped by divine intervention. I live to see that happen. Indeed, the weather is going to probably play a major part in my videos until the threat passes, and it will. No matter what happens, it will pass, but many of us have been gathering to do meditations and prayers, etc., to counteract the manipulation by the government in this Irma situation. And of course, there are two other hurricanes, one in the Gulf and another one coming off the coast of Africa. Neither of those pose major threats to where I live at this point in time. It's only Irma that does play a role as far as threatening Florida. Now, if you recall, during the previous hurricane, we were able to, well, I say we were able to. Some will debate whether it was us and our influence or not, but in any case, it did a loop and went out to sea by the Brevard County where I live, and we did not get hit with the level of winds that were predicted. Unfortunately, those south and north of us did, but we did not. And how much of an effect prayer had on that, I don't know. But I'd like to see the real God, the real creator of heaven and earth, and of man and of all things. I'd like to see a cease and desist order put out so that the dark elements that want to create havoc and they seem to live off of fear. They thrive when we're afraid, and of course their monetary system is such that they win when humanity loses. They cause devastation, and it costs a lot of money to create the devastation, and then they make more money by rebuilding everything that they've just destroyed. We have to get it through our heads, folks, that these beings, whatever they are, I mean, I have trouble seeing them as human. And one article that I read earlier indicated that most of the people or beings on this planet are not human. There's only maybe 100 million people on the planet that are actually human beings. Now, I don't believe that that's true. And whether they're human or not, we live on this planet together, and it would be to our mutual benefit as beings living on this planet for us to work toward making the planet as peaceful and loving a place as possible. But of course, that doesn't fit in with the plan of the elite to control. They have this insatiable desire to control everybody. I don't want to control anybody, folks. I want there to be freedom from the interference of the cabal. And the only ones that need to be controlled are those that do criminal acts, and they need to be brought to justice for their criminal acts, not exonerated, not given blanket forgiveness, but pay recompense and pay back to those of us that they have stolen from, so that we can begin to create the better world many of us have long envisioned. You know, there are going to be plenty of funds if this BRICS thing ever gets off the ground, and the currency revaluation and the distribution of currency to ordinary people that have an interest in actually helping remove the poverty and remove the suffering and help people to live in houses that are structurally sound, and stop modifying the weather and let weather take its natural course and cleanse the earth, which I think is what a lot of these storms would do if they were not being manipulated by dark forces. But in any case, we live here now, and we need to make some kind of adjustment as humanity, especially to learn to live together peacefully by loving one another, or at least live in a state of mutual allowance, where we don't interfere with others as long as they're not trying to interfere with us. Now, there are extremists in all religions, there are extremists in all political things, and it's the extremists that want to control everybody else. That's the problem. That's what needs to be stopped. That's what we need to awaken to, so that we collectively can rise up and say no more. We're going to take the world back, and we need to have the divine support, the divine intervention, whatever you want to call it. We need to be empowered so that we can do this. We need to be enlightened so that we can see the problem through all of the smoke screen of disinformation that is present in our world. I know I keep harping on this and I keep talking about it, but it's so, so important, not just to me, but for all of us, folks, for all of us. Now, I know many people are brainwashed and mind controlled even, and they're scared of stepping outside the boundaries. The people that have some knowledge of what's actually going on are controlled through fear and through implants in some cases. Somehow we need some supernatural abilities to transform those that are put in that situation, that would love to be able to become whistleblowers and to tell the truth that will liberate us from the deception. This is such a huge undertaking. It's a total change of our perception of reality, of our perception of ourselves. And it needs to be done as quickly as possible, because the dark cabal, have a plan to destroy everything. They don't care. You know, they think that they will still be able to survive because some of them apparently are immortals. I mean, I don't know if that's true or not, but they think they are. And certainly their generations, their families continue to exercise control that's unneeded by those of us that want the world to work for all of us, instead of just for the handful that want to manipulate everything. Folks, I appreciate you listening and putting up with me talking about these subjects again and again, but this to me is my life. I've lived for this since I was a boy, and I want to see all honest and loving people thrive, and I want to see those that don't want that to happen to be brought to some kind of justice. It's as simple as that. And I thank you for listening, and namaste.